One Piece chapter 1129. It is titled Live Dolls. The cover page consists of Yamato watching Otama during her ninja training with Shinobu as she's throwing kunai and trying to hit the target. It's really good seeing Otama, Komachiyo, and Shinobu, who gained her weight back after Green Bull took all her nutrients from her. So I guess her being back to her old self was just temporary. And there's no problem with that, cause what did Shannon Sharp say?
If you ain't 180, you ain't no lady, come to me.
The civilians living in the created world, they are talking about how there are flames through their cracks, and they assume that it's the end of the world. However, Elbaf's sun god mentions that he won't forgive the Straw Hats for destroying the temple and the guardians, but in actuality, they destroyed his room and the pets that he had, so that's why he's so upset. It was implied back in chapter 1128, but this one confirms that they aren't on Elbaf and everything was just a hoax. It's kind of funny, while the Straw Hats are escaping, the ground is shaking since the world is made out of blocks, and Luffy, he doesn't want to destroy his hard work, and literally the very next panel, the Cat destroys more of the town. I thought that scene was hilarious. As they are headed towards the other side of the room, Nami, she tosses the schematics since she's already memorized the blueprints, and I think this is a small but really cool detail to me because I love it whenever Oda showcases the Straw Hats using their particular skills. For example, we know that One Piece, it's a battle shonen, but little details like Sanji cooking since he's a cook, or Nami memorizing schematics, blueprints, and maps since she's a navigator will always be cool to me. The Sun God says that this is a giant's detention center and it's built so that no giant can escape. He traps the Straw Hats and the Cat in a metal net, and Zoro and Sanji, they break it. Now I'll have to wait and see because I did see some people within the community trying to say that this is Sanji using an advanced version of his Diablo Jamba, but the reason why I believe it's the Ifrit Jamba is because back in chapter 1127, that is what he used. A little bit of discourse about it. I saw some people also say that the reason why Sanji is using the Ifrit so much is so that he can get used to the attack. Another thing to note is that every Straw Hat has used an attack in this chapter except for Chopper, which I'm not sure why. Maybe Oda will make Chopper do something at the beginning of the next chapter. I think that would be pretty cool, but they travel past the Ear God's territory, and this is really cool because we finally got to see what the Ear God looked like after Luffy beat him up and ate him. I kind of feel bad because this guy, his pets are just getting eaten, beaten up, just used and abused. It's terrible. The Sun God kind of entered Euphoria. I don't know, it's a little weird. This chapter's kind of all over the place. Maybe he was just lonely and needed some form of entertainment because he talks about how the Straw Hats gave him goosebumps and how heroes were spawned in the very world that he created. He's ecstatic, and there's other live dolls and pirates that are here, and so since they were kidnapped and brought here against their will, they're using the chaos that the Straw Hats are creating in order to escape. Another thing to mention is that the Sun God said that Hajrudin recognized them, but he doesn't. So doing all this appears that the Sun God is testing why the Straw Hats were recognized by Hajrudin, which showcases there's some form of a connection between Hajrudin and the current Sun God. Usopp broke the mirror with a skull black grass green star, but there's still a wall in the way and Luffy gets ready to break it. And a line from the Sun God that I want to mention, he talks about how he can't get enough of weaklings struggling against their fate, and that their failure and hollow despair only showcase their humanity. And this is why I question this, because is he questioning that giants don't experience despair? Because if you look back at every single giant that we've encountered in this series, so Dory, Bragi, Oimo, Kashi, and Hajrudin, all of them have suffered despair in the arcs that we were introduced to them in. So personally, I think this statement's kind of dumb, but it's not for me to say how this person should feel. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I pump out different content all the time. But the Sun God is glad that the Straw has made their way to him, and he even calls them by their names, meaning that he either has a relationship with them or he knows them by their bounty posters or what he's read in the news. Now in the Viz translation, he says that all of them are ultra rare. I assume this is because of their popularity, but in the scans he says Tatso, which has Greek origin meaning resurrection, and the name evokes images of new beginnings, regeneration, and growth. I'm not really sure what the correlation between Tatsu and the way that he used it. I guess that may be why the scans use the word ultra rare, but if somebody knows and is smarter than me, let me know in the comment section below. But a lot of times during this arc, Luffy has charged up or used a mini Gear 4th attack in base, and this is pretty interesting. I'll have more details later in the video, and I'll probably make an additional video about this. We got the reveal of who the sun god is behind the mask, and I'm not gonna lie, this kind of felt like an episode of Scooby-Doo, but the person behind the mask is none other than Road, who is the navigator of the new giant warrior pirates and was formerly an S-class ranked mercenary for Buggy's delivery service. He was on the cover of chapter 898 titled I Will Return. Now this chapter title has two meanings, because in the chapter it was Luffy and Sanji returning to the Sunny, but now you could also argue that this was Oda's way of showcasing that Road would return to the story. I also forgot to mention this in my last breakdown, but Hajrudin, his ship was covered by a similar skull that Road used when he was to become the sun god, and also we speculate based off of, and also it appears that Road was the person that was waiting for the straw hats. I'm assuming since there are other pirates in Road's room that Mugen typically picks those up that fall asleep from Egghead, and he ends up turning them into live dolls. But he specifically did it to the straw hats because Hajrudin, serving under Luffy, Road, he doesn't believe that the almighty and all-powerful giant should serve under anyone, especially humans, and I think that this is Oda's way of showcasing the internal struggle that Road has and how he doesn't like humans, and that eventually because of Luffy and how the straw hats throughout the story, they tend to fix whatever people are internally struggling with. I think as he sees Luffy and the straw hats, how they progress throughout Elbaf, his perspective of little humans, well, they're not really little, I guess they're actually humans, but compared to them, they're little. You guys get what I mean. Road is definitely going to have more appreciation for them. Road's also a really big Nami simp. It was a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. His reaction kind of reminds me of how a lot of people in the community, they simp for her. They talk about her anytime there's a new chapter, she gets a new outfit, official art, just anything about Nami. He doesn't know about Nami's powers, but Zeus is the one to strike him down, and I wonder if he did know that Nami was the one to do that, if the attack would turn him on even more. This attack kind of reminds me of when she first used Zeus against Big Mom back in Whole Cake Island, but we gotta give Nami her flowers since she memorized the schematics. She navigated the straw hats to the other side of Road's room in order to escape, and she took down the main villain of the chapter. Luffy, he punched a hole through the wall with a mini Gear 4th Kong gun while he's in base, meaning that Luffy can use Gear 4th attacks without needing to go into Gear 4th, which is huge because his normal, and I put that in quotes because technically they're not normal attacks, because they're amplified base attacks with Gear 4 strength, and because he doesn't need to transform fully, it won't drain him of his strength so quickly anymore. I assume this is because of him learning Rio and Advanced Conquerors. I know it's a little bit confusing, and I do plan on making an in-depth video about it. But as Luffy broke the wall, his face lit up, and we have no clue what sight that he saw. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the Sunny or a giant cliff. I know Oda, he likes to do crazy things like that, but I would really hope that it's a beautiful double spread of Elbaf. And luckily there's no break, so we get to find out what it is next week. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about chapter 1129 in the comment section below. I know this chapter, a lot of people called it mid, a lot of people have some negative things to say about it. I thought it was okay. I thought some stuff was a little bit weird. It was, you know, it was kind of a mid chapter, but it's One Piece. Not every chapter is going to have like these massive reveals or just be peak fiction all around. Sometimes you gotta have chapters like this, and that's okay. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It's on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.